And welcome back to my latest installment of my Del Mar video series. This is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak. In this week's video, we're going to recap Week 2 from the 2013 Del Mar meet. We're going to preview Week 3. Now, the first week at Del Mar, from our first video, we mentioned that speed was strong on Polytrack. 16 wire-to-wire winners, 15 in sprint races. Week 2, it was more of the same, especially earlier in the week. We did have 12 wire-to-wire winners Week 2 on Polytrack. 11 were in sprint races. Now, when we got into Saturday and Sunday last week, the track was less speed favoring. On Saturday, it started to play more fair. Horses were coming off the pace. And then Sunday, to end the week, we had no wire-to-wire winners. So it looks like the Polytrack is starting to even out and play more fair to all running styles, especially in route races. Right now, the suggestion would be in sprint races, figure that speed, early pressing speed, is going to continue to do well. So you're going to want horses on or near the lead. In route races, it's playing fair. You can come from off the pace, and we'll have to see if that trend will continue into Week 3. Now, on the turf course, Week 1, stalkers and closers dominated. Week 2, played a little more fair. We did have 4 wire-to-wire winners overall on the turf course Week 2. 2 at 1 mile and 1/16. Both were on Sunday. We had 1 at 1 mile, and then we had 1 wire-to-wire turf winner at 5 furlongs. So right now, I would still say stalkers and closers, that's the preferred style, but speed at this point has gotten better, so you have to at least consider your early runners in those turf races. Now, the hot jockey last week, Julien Leparoux, he had 2 wins on Thursday, 2 more on Friday, and then he was out of town on Saturday, and then he came back on Sunday with 3 wins. So the last 3 days that he's ridden at Del Mar, he's compiled 7 victories. So he's your hot rider at this point. Your hot trainer, John Sadler, he got off to a slow start at Del Mar, but he really started picking up steam last week. Friday through Sunday, he collected 7 victories. I believe 3 of those 7 were with jockey Julien Leparoux. And actually, that jockey trainer team, their last time they've hooked up 7 times. The last 7 times they've hooked up 4 wins in 2 seconds. So that's a hot jockey trainer team to keep an eye on into Week 3 and as we go to the rest of the meet. The horses and races from last week to look at, Kettle he looked good in that San Diego handicap. I think the important thing enabled him to win. He came off of that big second place finish. He was clearly second best in the Hollywood Gold Cup. And then he had experience at Del Mar before. He was a close third in the 2012 San Diego handicap. And he came in this year in great form. He got some speed to chase. Batty Man went out and set fast fractions. Paynter was hounding him throughout. Paynter took the lead, but he just couldn't hold off Kettle. Kettle went by. Paynter ended up second. Batty Man, the long shot, held on for third. So that was a good race, and it looks like Kettlecorn's probably going to go on and run in the Pacific Classic. Now, Paynter may skip the Pacific Classic. They said that he didn't really handle that Del Mar surface too well. And that has been a problem with some horses. They just don't seem to handle that Del Mar Polytrack as well as they do some other surfaces. Even if they like synthetic, sometimes they don't like that synthetic. For instance, Game On Dude, he seems to really do well at cushion track at Hollywood, but not so well on that Polytrack at Del Mar. So Paynter may end up going in the Woodward Stakes at Saratoga for his next start instead of the Pacific Classic. Now, we mentioned Kettlecorn in the Pacific Classic. Another one that's possibly Pacific Classic bound would be Richard's Kid. He won now back-to-back renewals of the Cougar, the second handicap at Del Mar. He loves Del Mar. He's won the Pacific Classic before, and probably Doug O'Neill's going to point him to that race. Now, Game On Dude, as we mentioned, he was second in the Pacific Classic last year. He's going to get a new rider because his rider, Mike Smith, is going to be out of town riding Royal Delta for Pacific Classic Day. He's going to be at Saratoga. So the new rider for Game On Dude is going to be Joel Rosario. And then Dullahan, who won the Pacific Classic last year for trainer Dale Romans, his new pilot's going to be Rafael Bejarano. So Bejarano is going to ride Dullahan. Game On Dude's going to get Joel Rosario. Now this week we have a Pick 6 carryover again, just like last Wednesday. This week's Pick 6 carryover for July 31st, $261,000. So we have another big Pick 6 carryover. It's going to go well over $1 million. And a horse to look at in that sequence, race 6 on July 31st at Del Mar, Ballard Ruler. And he comes from that hot combination, Julien Leparoux and John Sadler. As I mentioned, in their last 7 times they've hooked up 4 wins in 2 seconds. They did well last week. This horse coming off of a long layoff. He won his first career start at Del Mar. training well. He's number 7 in race 6, and he's 5-1 morning line. Should offer a little bit of value there. Now the stakes races this weekend at Del Mar, the Grade 1 Clement Hirsch will be run on Saturday. In that race, Include Me Out for trainer Ron Ellis, probably going to end up being the favorite. On Sunday, 2-year-olds will have the spotlight. The Grade 2 Best Pal, Albert's Hope is one for trainer Mike Pipe that's going to be pointing to that race. And if he runs well there, I'll look for him maybe to come back in the Del Mar Futurity at the end of the meet. Now, if you go over to pick6blog.com, you'll see all of the analysis, suggested Pick 6 tickets each and every racing day at Del Mar. So go over to pick6blog.com for all your selections for the Pick 6 races for Del Mar each and every day. And if you like playing handicapping tournaments, go to derbywars.com. Wednesday through Sunday, we have plenty of Del Mar games up each day. Click on the Tournaments tab. You'll see all the games that we are offering each day at derbywars.com. That'll wrap up this week's video. I'll be back next week. I'll be recapping Week 3, previewing Week 4 from Del Mar. Until then, good luck at the races.